What's up, team? Now, it is all well and good building an absolutely sick physique and one that can perform well as well, but in my opinion, one of the most underrated benefits of living, eating and moving better is actually improved cognition and brain function. When you start eating right and hacking things in the right way, your cognition and your brain function will become a lot faster, a lot sharper, and you're going to experience a lot less brain fog. And overall, you're just going to feel more primed and ready for the task at hand. It's pretty neat, right? What's going on, team? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Jim Galvin, and on this channel, we cover all things training, nutrition, biohacking, and ancestral living to help people just like you cut through all of the fluff of the modern fitness industry, to help you work out what you need to do based on your individual biology to improve your performance, your health, and your physique. And on today's video, I want to share with you my favorite hacks that I've discovered over the last few years to improve your brain function. So without further ado, let's get cracking, shall we? Okay, so there's a couple of things that I would like to talk to you about today and share with you in regards to how to hack your brain, but it makes sense, in my opinion, that we start off with a very, very slight tweak of something that pretty much everyone I know in the world anyway enjoys either the process of or at the very least the benefits of. And that is coffee. A good old-fashioned cup of joe. Now, I mentioned on a video a few weeks back, guys, about the unbelievable benefits of shroom coffee. This is coffee, Arabica bean coffee, spliced with different kinds of mushrooms. Namely, either lion's mane, cordyceps, or chaga, or if you're the legends at SuperU, you just chuck them all in there. Coffee has caffeine, as most of us should know, which helps improve and assist focus, concentration, and energy. The types of mushrooms that I just mentioned do exactly the same thing. So you start putting them all together in the same cup and you get this incredibly healthful compounded effect. As I said, guys, we covered a lot of this recently in a video a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that now. I am, however, here to tell you today, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to put mushrooms in your coffee, but to hack your coffee to have an even better improvement in brain function and cognitive acuity, there is another slight tweak that you can make. You can stack your daily cup of coffee, that is to say, take it with an amino acid, super cheap pill-formed amino acid called L-theanine, which you are seeing now. This has a couple of benefits, actually, guys. One of them being that it slightly removes the kind of the jittery feeling that we get from coffee. And one of the other benefits is that it helps avoid the crash. Third benefit in this case is that it actually helps improve cognitive function again. So it's basically all the pros and none of the cons. So having specially made shroom coffee by the SuperU or Four Sigmatic, or stacking your cup of coffee with L-theanine, boom, done. On to hack number dos. My second hack for a much smoother experience of the recesses of your own psyche and your own head is carb backloading. Now, a lot of the hacks and tips and tricks, guys, as I'm sure you can imagine, that I share with you guys now on this channel are obviously in an attempt to help as many people as possible and help the masses. But at the same time, I also do gob off about the massive benefits of pursuing a greater understanding of your own physiology. Basically, because I have an absolute faith in what I think is fairly rational, in the being that we're all wired differently, the things that we need to do and eat to optimize our performance, our health, and our physique are going to be different. And with that logic, I will say straight off the bat that carb backloading, which is the name given to a process where you have the majority of your daily allowed carbohydrates at the back end of the day, creative terminology, right? This process is consistent and congruent with some genetic testing that I did in the form of a DNA fit test, which basically came out with the results that said I was low carb. I started messing around with when to have my carbs throughout the day, started having them pretty much all either after about 5 p.m. after my training session, or the vast majority of them, 70-80% of my carbohydrates in the evening with and after my evening meal. And for me, it's absolutely flipping incredible. But I will say, obviously, this technique, even though I'm saying works for me, might not necessarily work for you if you are someone who is wired to have a much higher percentage of their diet being carbohydrates throughout the day. Saying that, for me, having pretty much either extremely low or no carbohydrates until after my training session, again, quite counterintuitive to a few of you who may think that you need that fuel, you need those sugars pretty much straight away beforehand. For me, I feel unbelievably more energetic within a training session, and my brain function, my kind of mental acuity and my cognition is so much smoother through the day. More regulated energy generally, and more regulated hunger cravings as well. Before I carb backloaded and went gluten-free, and started intermittent fasting, I used to feel the way that I think a lot of you guys do, which is either absolutely starving or completely stuffed all the time. The idea of being neither hungry or full and just nicely satiated and satisfied throughout the day until I was about 31 years old was an absolute flipping myth to me. It was literally a pie in the sky idea that I don't think I'd ever actually experienced until I got into my early 30s. And making it relevant to today's conversation and the content of this video, as well as a significant improvement in my body composition, I just feel leaner the whole time, and as well as having more energy to participate in exercise, my brain function, just having a level of clarity of thought that I'd pretty much never had beforehand when I was constantly on this crazy roller coaster of blood sugar. Even if you think you might be wired in a way that your predisposition requires a higher amount of carbohydrates, trust me, just give this a go. You are going to feel a little bit out of whack and out of sorts for the first couple of days, but trust me, you are not going to flip and starve to death if you simply cut out all carbohydrates until kind of like mid to late afternoon and then get them in. Then try it for 10 days to 2 weeks and see how you go. Hack number 3 for cognitive function on today's video is one that I believe a lot of you are now going to listen to and go, Jim, that's really interesting. Thanks for that advice. And then never do anything about it. And the reason that this is my prediction is because what I'm about to share with you and suggest that you do to improve your mental acuity, it ain't a lot of fun. CWI, guys. Cold water immersion. Ice baths are my favorite method for this. If you've seen some of my videos before, you will know that I have a sealed chest freezer in my garden just outside that window there. But cold showers have a similar effect. Obviously not as strong because you are not fully submerged. But the benefit of cold showers in this case, talking to you guys now, is that it's probably a little bit more accessible on a regular basis. A few minutes a day, guys, of either of these, either an ice bath or a cold shower, has an absolute plethora of benefits for your body, for your mind, and for your flipping soul. One of them being the thinning of what is called your blood-brain barrier, or your BBB. Caveat, my knowledge of this subject is not particularly comprehensive, but having read Boundless by the man, the myth, the legend that is Ben Greenfield, one of the godfathers of modern-day biohacking, he talks a lot about this as one of the benefits of cold water immersion. And basically the idea is that certain things will be able to pass into your brain a little bit easier. Things like caffeine, amino acids like L-tyrosine, and a load of other nootropics and cognitive enhancing compounds. When I used to ice bath regularly, pretty much every day, one of the first things I did in the morning, I used to get out, dab myself off with a towel while making myself a single shot espresso. This was like my perfect morning routine. And as soon as I'd neck that within say 10-15 minutes, after having gotten out of the ice bath, this is about kind of 90 minutes to 2 hours after having got up and done my other stuff in my morning routine, I was absolutely buzzing and I just felt so clear in my head and so full of energy. I mean, I know you could say, well, you're going to feel a little bit more awake, aren't you, after a shot of coffee and a flipping head dunk, bog washing yourself in a flipping freezer. But trust me, the science is there, and you do, literally from when I got out and the coffee, both of those things seemed to compound, and it just felt as though that coffee had more of an effect than it normally would. Definitely something I would recommend, guys, not just for cognitive function, but for the other, as I said, plethora of benefits associated with this practice. Reduced inflammation levels being one, immune system function, obviously recovery is in there as well. And let's not forget, important for everyone living in the modern Western world, it does indeed assist with just some good old-fashioned flipping stoic resilience. People who ice bath regularly are just tougher people. Gotta believe me on that, guys. It's science. And finally, a neural hack that I was kind of familiar with by term, but it wasn't something that I really delved into or tried much myself until recently. Something I now take full advantage of pretty much every single day. Every time that I need to completely block out the world and plug into a piece of work that needs to be completed. This can be either an execution-based tasks. These are the things like data entry, things that you need to do, things that require focus and for us to do, and also slightly more creative work. Designing, making decisions, working out what the best next step is for your business. This stuff, in my opinion, might have less output on paper or in a computer, but is significantly more cerebrally demanding. And the hack that helps me with all of these things is, drumroll please, Binaural Beats. If you're already using this, you absolutely have my permission to roll your eyes and be like, Jim, you are flipping late to the party, brother. I know, I'm sorry. But if you're not, and cognition and sustained focus is sometimes a problem with you when you're trying to do either execution-based work or creatively based work, then trust me, this thing can be a game changer. And to explain what binaural beats are, I'm going to absolutely plagiarize the first thing I found on Google. So here we go, guys. Binaural beats are a perception of sound created by your brain. If you listen to two tones, each at a different frequency and each in a different ear, your brain creates an additional tone for you to hear. This third tone is called a binaural beat. You hear it at the frequency between the two tones. Super popular for sleep, and that was kind of the association I had with it. There are 1,000,001 playlists on Spotify and probably other streaming platforms as well that are specifically dedicated for focus, and for me, it is 100% work. Probably less than 2 minutes of this and I already feel calmer, a little bit more centered and grounded and ready to execute whatever it is that I need to do. Obviously, the one main caveat with this is that you do need to listen to it through earphones or headphones or whatever, not through a speaker. And the reason for that is the whole point is that there's certain frequencies going in through each ear, and this is the way that this effect is created. Just having it playing through one single central speaker, it ain't gonna work. But this can be a good thing and a blessing in disguise because it has the added benefit of, again, blocking out everything else. And if you are anything like me and your ADHD is anywhere near as bad as mine, that can only be a good thing when you've got to get shit done. And there we go, guys. They are my 4 main hacks to help you hack your brain and help develop the sustained, for the sustainable for the focus of what were we talking about again? So we have your morning cup of coffee stacked either with mushrooms. I would get that from Four Sigmatic or from Super U. I wouldn't do a DIY job unless you know what you're doing. Or stack it with a little bit of L-theanine, which again, super cheap and comes in pill form. We have carb backloading to help your body regulate its blood sugar levels, its energy, and therefore its cognition and mental acuity. We have cold water immersion and all of the magical benefits associated with that. Namely, in this case, the thinning of your blood-brain barrier. And fourth and finally, we have binaural beats to be deployed at times of intense work. Team, it has been a pleasure conversing with you in a way that is obviously very much one way because unfortunately I'm pretty sure that's how YouTube works. But why end this amazing interaction right now when you could spend the next 10 minutes of your day watching me teach you how to do muscle ups properly? Go on, go on. I dare you. If you are going to do that now, enjoy. Please hope you get some value from that as much as you have from this video. And for everyone else, as always, guys, stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome. Peace out for now, and I'll see you in the next one.